your time. Thank you for taking out your time on a Saturday evening to join the session. I'm pretty sure you're going to make the most out of it. It's going to be a very interesting session. So I'll just start off with an introductory video, and then we can get into introductions and start off with the session as well.
वेलकम टू अपना कम्युनिटी। ये वो जगह है जहां आप अपने असली पोटेंशियल को एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं। देखो, सबके पास स्किल्स होते हैं, पर क्या आपके अंदर वो स्पार्क है जो आपको कामयाबी की ऊंचाइयों तक ले जा सकता है? अगर आप सोच रहे हैं जॉब चेंज करने के लिए, लेकिन रेज्यूमे सेलेक्ट नहीं हो रहा, या फिर इंग्लिश में इंटरव्यू देना थोड़ा चैलेंजिंग लग रहा है, तो फिक्र मत कीजिए। यहाँ हम हैं आपके साथ, आपको सपोर्ट करने के लिए। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगी बेहतरीन कम्युनिटीज जहां आप अपने प्रोफेशनल स्किल्स को सुधार सकते हैं। चाहे आप एक्सेल, टैली, जीएसटी में माहिर बनना चाहें, या फिर आप खुद एक ब्यूटिशियन या डिजाइनर हैं, तो यहाँ आप अपने काम को शोकेस करके दूसरों को टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स देते हुए आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगा मेंटर्स का एक खजाना और बड़े इन्फ्लुएंसर्स का साथ, जो आपको हर कदम पर 1-to-1 गाइड करेंगे। यहाँ आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं अपने फील्ड या इंडस्ट्री स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप्स, जहां आपको ऐसे कई लोग मिलेंगे जिनसे सीख के आप वो गलती ना करें जो वो कर चुके हैं। ऐसे लोगों की जिन्होंने स्टार्ट किया था एज एग्जीक्यूटिव्स एंड आर नाउ सक्सेसफुल मैनेजर्स इन देयर डोमेन्स, जो आपको आगे बढ़ाने में मदद करेगा। यहाँ आपको मिलेगा वो सही डायरेक्शन जो आपके करियर को नेक्स्ट लेवल ले जाएगा। तो लेट्स अनलॉक योर पोटेंशियल टुगेदर। अपना कम्युनिटी में ज्वाइन करें और अपने सपनों की ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचने का सफर शुरू करें।
Super. Okay. Great. Thank you all. Thank you again. Thank you for joining, and welcome everyone. My name is Rohan. I'm co-hosting the session today along with Apna Dipanjan. I'm one of the co-founders of QFirst, which is a mentorship aggregator platform, which is engaged with Apna. And at Apna, we have been doing this for a while now, termed as Apna Exclusives. These sessions are exclusive sessions across different domains. It can be a career domain or a data science or a product or tech domain. It's happening every day on weekdays at 7 p.m. and weekends around 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. And today's session, we do have Mr. Joban with us. Hi, Joban, who's a passionate software engineer with 3 years of experience. And he spent 3 years in Microsoft building and scaling critical services that tackles some of the world's most complex problems. So the topic for today is going to be land your first dream job, software dream job. And without much overdue, over to you, Joban. And just a quick note on the questions. I will be handling, taking up the questions on the chat box. People, you can post your questions there and we'll have a pretty much of an interactive session going forward. Thank you.
Great. Hello, guys. Thanks, Rohan, for the introduction. And we will have a session today on like how you can land your first software engineering job. So I saw a few comments regarding the language. So I'll be explaining everything in English. So it should not be an issue. So let me go ahead and share my screen where I have a PPT prepared for you guys, and then we can get started. Please, someone, if you can let me know if you can see the presentation. Rohan, is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, it is visible. It is visible.
Okay, great. Move this down.
It is visible, sir.
Great. Okay, now move this down. All right. So yeah, so again, like guys, all of you, thanks for joining today's session. And today I'll be trying to walk you through about like how you can start your journey and land your first job as a software engineer, as a software developer, and what all things to take care, what are the do's and don'ts. And in between, if you have any doubts, please put it in chat or raise your hand. We'll try to answer them as satisfactory as possible. So one thing I want you guys to understand is that I don't want to make this session a lecture. I want this session to be interactive, and I want you guys to raise as many questions as possible, and I'll try to help you out. And please do utilize this session. I am here for 1 whole hour with you. So before jumping into the content, I'll again say, like, put your all the questions in the chat. Okay, so firstly, who am I? Again, hello everyone. I'm Joban. I am currently working at Microsoft as a software engineer for past 3 years, and I'm also like small content creator. I post content related to software engineering, the career, software engineering career, the resources you can follow. I want to help our students, and you guys can follow me on LinkedIn and follow all these steps, which I'll tell you over the LinkedIn also. Uh, Previously, I was an intern at Microsoft itself. I was an intern during COVID, peak COVID 2020. And so I was the first batch with Microsoft who interned online. And after that internship, I was given a full-time offer from Microsoft and joined in June 2021. And I also, so this is a typo here. Let me just quickly correct that. Yeah, so I also am very passionate about the tech stack, which I work on a daily basis. So I keep on sharing my knowledge with community, sharing my findings. So I also spoke in a couple of international conferences, to name a few. Recently, I gave a session in React Summit, which was held in Amsterdam. And so, yeah, that's a brief intro about me. Now, jumping straight into the next slide as to what can you do to get your dream job, right? That's the whole premise of today's session. I assume uh, today's audience is fairly new to programming or little to no experience to programming. And so maybe you are a first year student, or you are like, you want to switch your career, whatever it is, you are starting from very basics. So that's where I'll start. So on the left hand side of the screen, you can see, right, first step is to get your basics correct. And so I think it's very trivial to understand. If your basics are not correct, the career you want to make will not be possible, right? It's as simple as that. So in terms of software engineering, what are your basics? Your basics are your programming language. Pick any one programming language that you are interested in and learn it end to end. And the most popular ones are C++, Java, Python. And as a beginner, as a person who is starting from zero, I would recommend you guys, you can pick up Python as your first programming language. It's not a hard and fast rule, you can pick any. But if you are starting from scratch, Python is the easiest to learn, and it has a not that steep learning curve. So that's why, and after you are familiar with Python, I would highly, highly recommend to also learn object-oriented programming language, which is either Java or C++. Either one of them you can pick. Uh, what is object-oriented programming? That is beyond the scope of this meeting. So you guys can search it online and maybe try to read more on it. But just make sure that you have object-oriented programming language in your tool set for sure. That's one of the major basic steps you need to overcome. Moving on to essentials. Now, I'll talk about the selection procedures, how an actual candidate is selected in companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and what the interview process is, and how you guys will be evaluated. So all these I'll cover. So, but before even that, I would say first your basics are clear. The next thing is to get to the essentials. What is essentials? In any interview, be it for any company you will interview for, you will be asked data structures and algorithms, and you should have a very deep understanding of what data structures and algorithm is. So I'll talk about a lot of terms that might be new to you. So I would recommend you guys so that you keep on noting terms which are new to you and research in detail about them after this session. So like if you're not familiar with what data structures, what does that mean, right? Just note it down and then you can go ahead and research about it later on. But just focus on what I'm trying to convey currently. So once you are done with the essentials, just cover data structures, all the data structures, like to name a few, like arrays, trees, graphs, all those basic data structures you need to cover. And then after that, you will jump on to algorithms, like what is binary search, what are all the sorting algorithms, right? What are all the graph traversal algorithms, tree traversal algorithms. So these kind of algorithms are the next step. Now, this is the backbone of your interview process. The data structures and algorithm. Without this specific subject, you cannot succeed for sure. That's 110% sure. But before that, before even learning data structure and algorithms, you should be familiar with any of the one languages which I spoke earlier. So that's why it's the basics. Next step will be, once you are done with your basics, you know one of programming language, you have covered your essentials. Next step will be to pick any development area. What do I mean by development area now? So as a software developer, you will develop some software, right? So it can be in many domains. It can be a website development. It can be a mobile app development, an Android developer, a iOS developer, or you want to move into machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence. So all these fields are there, which you can select as a software developer and start contributing to those. You start learning about those fields, right? So that's what development means. Once you are done with your basics and essentials, you can explore all these fields. I would recommend, if you are like a fresher in college or you want to switch your careers, I would highly recommend to not just have some preconceived notion in your mind that this particular skill will get me a good job, and so that's why I'll only learn that specific skill. That is fine. If that is your approach, that is also fine. If you're clear that I only want to learn Android development, go for it. No issues there. But as a student who is fresher, who doesn't know much about development, I would highly recommend you to explore all the possible options and then decide which one you like the best. Again, like everything is available on the internet, resources are there. So I'll highly recommend you guys to note this down and then do your research later on. And if I start sharing resource for each and every topic here, it will be a very long session, so I'll not do that. And I'll next jump to the core. So what do I mean by core here? So as a computer science student, as a software engineering student, your core subjects are, as I already said, right, DSA, data structures and algorithms. The CS fundamental subjects like database management system, DBMS, object-oriented programming, your OOPS, your computer networks, your operating systems. So these are the core subjects which a computer science student should know, a software engineer should know. That will help you become a very solid software engineer and will help you succeed in your career. So once your foundation is built, now you want to solidify your foundation by understanding these core concepts and learning these core subjects, right? And the last part to this puzzle is the different catalysts that you can use to upskill yourself. Be it competitive programming, which is CP, or you can go for open source contributions, you can go for hackathons. So all these are catalysts to your profile that will help you accelerate your uh, towards your dream job. So I'll just stop here for 1 second and monitor chat for any questions or any hands which are raised.
I think there was one from Shivam Kumar that he's from a non-IT field. Is there
Yeah.
any opportunity for, I think you did that result.
Yes, Shivam. So as I started with, right? So the current session I'm talking about is for someone who is completely new to the field, who is first year student in a college learning about computer science, or even if you are not from a computer science branch or you are not from an IT field, then also this roadmap is going to help you a lot. And this roadmap remains same for you also if you are from a non-IT field as well. Things doesn't change much. The only thing that you have to do extra is I'll talk about that in my later on slides, like what extra you can do if you are from a non-IT field. Okay. Uh, then moving on. So there are a bunch of things that as a student, as a professional, or as a learner, you need to take care before you start your software engineer journey, which is like software engineer suite, SWE. So first of all, as a software engineer, you will be coding all the time. So the basics that we discussed earlier, right? That will help you build that coding muscle, that actual skills that is required to be a good software engineer, right? So that's imperative that you have basics of a language clear, then you know your CS fundamentals, and you have the skills to build a good software from scratch. So that's the first skill for sure. And the second one is one of the most underrated, and it's not that much talked about also. You have to be very curious and have a learner attitude um, when you are a software engineer, when you are thinking of becoming a software engineer. So why I say that is because software engineering is a field which changes within a matter of days, and it, it it's very ruthless field where if you are not up to it, if you are not up to date, if you lag behind, then you will be cast away very quickly, and you will be left behind. So that's why if you don't have this learning attitude, this self learner attitude, then you will definitely struggle. So you need to have this attitude where you yourself should have that um, ability to pick up new things, pick up new skills, learn about it without someone telling you, right? So these are some of the points that you should be familiar with before jumping into uh, preparing for a software engineering role. Another thing is just don't cram whatever is listed previously. Be a good engineer, first of all. That's the most basic thing that people forget. As a software engineer, as the name suggests, you are first an engineer. You should have the problem solving capability. You should have that problem solving attitude within you. That will definitely help you. And the next point is tech stack. Now, I often hear a lot of this that from especially from like freshers and non-IT field professionals, that what kind of tech stack should I choose while starting? Which fancy language, which fancy framework should I pick up? Because like person A is learning this, person B is learning this. Should I also learn that? Should I leave whatever I'm learning currently? So I would say just stick to a single proven framework which have been there for a lot of time and who has uh, like gone through the tides of time. So for example, like if your language of choice is Java, right? I would suggest just stick with Java and stick with Java related frameworks like Spring Boot, Hibernate, and all that. And don't just jump into some fancy Express.js or React.js just because your friend is learning about it. It's never it's never a wrong thing to learn new things, but you should not be in a situations where you learn a new framework for 1 to 2 days and you jump to another one. That should not be the right way to go about it. Just stick with your tech stack and take it as a challenge and learn one tech stack end to end. That will help you understand the entire software engineering life cycle. And fifth one is collaboration over competition. What do we mean by that? So when we are in +1, +2 in our school, we are in a competitive environment. We want to get ahead. We want to score a higher rank. So in that space, we are in a competition phase where we don't want to collaborate much with others. We want to keep our learnings to us, to our like within us, and don't want to share that. I think that doesn't work beyond +1, +2. When you enter your college or in a corporate environment, collaboration is one of the most important skills. And competition is still fine, but there is a boundary to it, and you should be uh, you should be collaborative enough so that you are not hard to work with. This is one of the most important skills which is judged in your interviews also, where you are judged if how collaborative you are. Can you work in a team environment, or you are just a lone wolf where you can only work with yourself, right? You should not be a person like that. So these are some of the points which will like help you grow in your career and get started. And these are the things which are often overlooked. Uh, Now, one of the major challenges students sees while they are starting is that uh, uh, like how to get new opportunities, right? How to get job opportunities, or how to basically start your career, how to get your foot in the door. So that's the one of the hardest part, in my opinion, when you're starting new. So I'll just jump onto this next slide, which explains a bit more detail, like how you can basically get your first opportunity. So first is do it in public. And what does that mean is that once you are in an environment where you have started learning something new, start posting about it on your social media, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, and all those platforms where you share your learnings with others. And whatever you are building, if you are building new projects, if you are learning something new, if you have found something new, if you are contributing to some open source challenge, show it in public, post about it in public. And oftentimes recruiters look into these kind of things, and you will definitely get a higher chance of catching an eye of a recruiter and a recruiter reaching you out rather than you going to a recruiter. So I have many students that I know personally who started building their projects in public. They started posting on LinkedIn about the things they are doing. They started pushing their code to GitHub. They started uh, having like 100 days of code challenge. They started participating in that. They started solving new problem each day and started posting about it. And then they were reached out by recruiters, and they were able to crack their first job. So it is possible, and it is the one of the best ways to do about it. And the second one is leverage your connections. And what do I mean by that is that be active on social media platforms, especially LinkedIn. Build connections over time, which are not just transactional. It should not be like you are on LinkedIn and you are just you don't know the other person and you directly reaching out to them for a referral, right? If the other person doesn't know you, why would they refer, right? If they don't know about your work, why would they refer? So start connecting with people on LinkedIn, like-minded people on LinkedIn, and start showcasing your work. That will help you make connections that you can leverage later on when you need an actual referral, right? or you need to go to a recruiter and ask for a job. If you already know the recruiter and recruiter knows you, she knows your work, he knows your work, then it will be very easy for you to leverage those connections and get the first job. Third one is hiring challenges. So a lot of people just only rely on campus placements or just only apply on to career websites. They just go to like Microsoft Careers and then just start applying on jobs. And oftentimes their profile gets rejected. So other very good way to get your first job is to participate in hiring challenges. There are a bunch of websites which conducts hiring challenges monthly or even weekly. For example, Hacker Earth is a very good website where hiring challenges happen on a monthly basis, where companies like Microsoft or Google or like JustPay and all those big companies, product-based companies, conduct hiring challenges where they invite college students to participate and showcase their skills and get hired based on their skills rather than just in which college they are from, right? So that's kind of a off-campus placement scenario. Lastly, be self-critical, keep monitoring yourself, keep monitoring your progress and how you are actually progressing. There is a very easy trap that student gets stuck very easily is in what that is tutorial hell, where you keep on watching tutorials about XYZ and you don't actually build anything new. You just keep on learning something new and then you jump onto the next thing. So in reality, you are not doing anything productive, but your mind tells you that you are actually learning something new. So that's why you are on the right path. These are the things that you need to be aware of, and you should self-monitor yourself and self-correct yourself along the way. Yeah. So again, before I jump on to the next section, I'll just stop for 1 second for any questions. You can raise your hand or like put it in chat maybe.
Yeah, I think if you can also unmute yourself and just
Yeah, you can
pop out the
unmute and ask
right,
questions.
yeah.
Okay, I get one question like which laptop is good. So I assume this is regarding coding you are asking and specifically about software engineering, right? So if that is the question, then I would suggest pick any laptop. It's doesn't matter the brand or like whatever. The only thing you should think about it, it should be like of decent specs, like 16 GB RAMs or something, so that you are not uh, bound by the actual like slowness of your laptop. As long as it has the capability to run a browser, that should be sufficient. Um, um, no need to buy fancy laptops just because some XYZ influencer told you to. Uh, So Shivam, like, so the question is how to get internship in HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. So these are, I would say, so HTML, CSS are not even programming languages. So JavaScript is a programming language. So these are just some of the skills that you can build. These are not fields you can get jobs in, right? So these are like, for example, let's say uh, you learned JavaScript, right? Now what? Uh, you should have the ability to make something using JavaScript, right? It's not that you just learn JavaScript and you are done. You did the bare minimum and you should get a job. That's not how it works, right? These three technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these are the bare minimum you can do as a software engineer. There are a lots and lots of things beyond these three things, right? So if you ask me, will I get job after just learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? The answer will be a straight no. But that doesn't mean that these three languages are a waste, right? these are the stepping stones to get to a level where you are able to use these technologies to build something, right? So next question is from data science background. Can you tell me what should I focus on more on? So data science background, first of all, some of the things which I told you applies to data science also. You have to learn the basic language, right? In data science, it's Python. You have to learn that. And then you have to jump onto the core libraries of like data science, which are like NumPy, Pandas, and all that. So the steps remain same. The only thing changes is the actual technologies that you'll need to learn. First, you'll learn a language, then you'll learn some framework, and then you just build some projects, and then you showcase those projects publicly, and then you will get your opportunity from there, right? The steps remain same. The only thing changes is the specific bullet points that you need to follow, right? So there are, so as I said, right, for hackathons and hiring challenges, Hacker Earth is there, Geeks for Geeks is there, who conducts these hiring challenges monthly. For data science, there are similar kind of websites where Kaggle is one, which is one of the biggest websites which conduct data science hiring challenges. So Hacker Earth also conducts data science related challenges. So the steps, the basic steps remains the same. The underlying things you need to explore and understand. I hope that answers the questions. Another question is like how to improve logic building, which is very important. It's a very good question. So a lot of people struggle with this. Like you will be in an interview asked a question. You are asked to solve something, and you got stuck. Like your mind got blank. Like how to actually come up with the logic to solve this specific question. The only answer here is practice, right? I know that's kind of not the fancy answer. It's a cliche one, but there is no shortcut to it, right? You cannot increase your IQ by adopting any shortcut, right? That's not how it works. So I would suggest just keep practicing, right? Another thing is practice in a structured manner where you start with easy problems, where you first don't have to think that hard to come up with the logic. And then for the same specific topic, you move on to the medium problems and then hard problems, right? That way, the concepts that you learn on solving easy problems, you will build on top of them, right? So when you are solving a hard question of the same topic, the easier part of that problem will be very intuitive to you. You don't have to think about it. Now you have to only solve the hard part. So that way, you broke down the problem into specific steps which you can act upon, right? So similarly, like if you are solving any lead code question or any data structure question, practice is the only way. But as I said, practice in a structured way, like go for easy first. Once you are comfortable in easy problems, then move on to the medium one and then hard ones. Angular, Shivam, is a good framework to learn. You can go for it. If you feel like you are getting what you want from Angular, there is nothing wrong with that. So one question is that if I'm trying to get a job as a front-end developer, what are the tech skills that I need, right? So front-end developer needs to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript for sure. No going around from these three technologies. These are the bare minimum. And after you are comfortable with these three, you can start building your website from scratch. First, just build a simple portfolio website or a to-do website or a calculator. And then once you're familiar with the HTML, JavaScript, move on to a framework like React.js or Angular or Vue.js or something like that. Anything you can pick. Currently, React.js is very famous and a lot of resources are available for that. So you can pick up that. Once you are familiar with React.js, then build single page apps using React.js, build some interactive apps, and obviously, like it goes without saying, everything you are building, push it to GitHub, show it to people, deploy it, right? So that other people can see what you're building. Don't just put it in your computer and leave it, right? That doesn't serve anything. After you are familiar with a framework like React or Angular, you can then move on to some other more complex like topics like integrating authentication into your app, right? How you will or like implement login and how you'll implement payment gateways, things like that. Just build on top of your learnings. So this can be some of the skills that you should learn as a front-end engineer. Future in any domain which is related to computer science will be good, Sampath. There is no uh, uh, guarantee, of course, like there is no guarantee that this specific field will be where in 10 years. Nobody knows that. One thing is for sure, if you have the skills, if you have the basics right, if you have the computer science basics in place, nobody can stop you for sure in succeeding software engineering field, be it data science or iOS developer or Android developer. Don't worry about AI or ChatGPT or Devin eating your job. So I have been in software engineering industry for 3 years, and if I add my internship and everything before that, close to 6 to 7 years. And whatever I've seen currently, AI is coming up with is nowhere near the skill that you need to be successful as a software engineer. And obviously, like if you are just a software engineer which is just copy pasting code and not able to come up with your own logic, then definitely you will be replaced. But if you are a core engineer at heart, you know how to solve hard problems, industry is in a dire need for you. Nobody is going to replace you in that. So I'll just have one slide. So I will keep on like looking at your questions because that's more important. And so one thing is after learning was the thing we do freelancing can help Sampath if you are like into freelancing, that's totally okay. And freelancing will definitely enhance your skills. But starting freelancing is very hard because you have to build your reputation. You have to get your first project, which is very difficult. So I would say freelancing in some cases is even more difficult than getting a job. So that's like the pros and cons that you have to do. I see one hand is raised. Um, Sai, do you want to ask a question?
Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
This is Vishnu Teja.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I am also fresher only. I have learned in skills only is a C language only. C language C++. Of
Okay,
Java is a basic only.
okay.
Yeah, this profile will be acceptable as a fresher only. Can learn new things.
So definitely, as I said, right? So learning any language is the basic you can do, the most bare minimum basic you can do. After
Yeah,
that, the other things that I talked about earlier, right? Data structures, algorithms, then you have to build up on those and come up with some projects and then learn core specific CS fundamentals. So there is a specific requirement that is bare minimum for a software engineer role. And it's not that if you will not learn it, you will not get a job. Obviously, there are exceptions, But if you follow this roadmap, it will be way much easier for you, right? So if you
Can
know
content
Java,
also generative of AI.
sorry, can you repeat?
Recently I completed of introduction of generative AI Google Cloud by certificate.
Okay, introduction to generative AI.
Yes.
Yeah, that is fine. You can go ahead with that, but I don't think that that would have much helped. Those would have been just a intro to what ChatGPT is, what Gemini is, how they work, what prompt engineering is. So
Okay.
those things will help you as a general, I would say, in your
Yeah.
day-to-day journal work. But those are not nowhere near the essential skills which are required to crack an actual interview, right? So if you want to actually crack an interview, then you need to learn the skills that I mentioned in the previous slide. So if
Uh,
you are already learning Java, you are on the right path. Just keep going and then build upon
yeah.
it.
Okay. So I also start with my career. Will say AI. It's
Okay.
next step will be I'm also learning for another course will be same next step and next stage. The second level of generative of AI. It's
Mhm.
a language of models.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
any
Yeah,
dope
you
is
can go
there.
into that domain also. If you want to get into the domain of building your own models, building your own LLMs, right?
Yes.
That is also fine. But again, as I said, right, for
Okay.
that, you need to get your basics right. For learning LLM or learning to build LLMs, you need to know Python, right? That's a bare minimum, right? You need to know some machine learning algorithms, right? That's a bare minimum. You need to know how to clean your data, how to data warehousing work, how data cleaning work, how libraries like Pandas, NumPy, how all these libraries actually work. So there has to be some ground level work you need to do in any domain. So the base, as I said, right, steps remain same. The underlying bullet points of what actually you need to know that can vary upon like which actual branch of software engineering you want to deep dive into.
Thank you for Satish.
Yeah. So somebody is asking about like how I got internship. So for me, Sampath, like I was studying in NIT Jalandhar, specifically that's my college, and Microsoft visited our campus to hire students, so specifically for internship, and that's how I got that opportunity. But I know a lot of my classmates who did not got the on-campus opportunity. They directly reached out to companies through LinkedIn, through career portals, through hackathons. And so actually, like one of my close friends, you might also know Arsh Goel. He's a very big influencer on LinkedIn and Instagram and all. He actually participated in a hackathon conducted by Lowe's India. Lowe's is a very big furniture company in US. So he participated in that hackathon. He got the internship and then got the full-time offer. So there are a bunch of ways you can get to get your first job, as I already explained, right? So that was specifically how I got my first internship. Okay, so last slide, I'll just quickly touch upon that. I again will repeat like social presence, build in public, as I already said, right? Be active on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and show whatever you are building. Try to make meaningful connections, try to leverage them, and that will definitely help you a lot. Referral system, like you need to understand how referrals work. Uh, as I said, right? Referrals does not mean that it's a short gateway to entry to a job, right? Most of the time you will get a referral, still you will not be selected. So that being said, referral is one of the best ways to highlight your profile, to bump up your profile. And one of the best ways to get a referral is to actually build up relations with your seniors, with your peers, or someone on LinkedIn, with recruiters. Try to build a actual meaningful connection, and then once you have shown your skills, your abilities, then ask for a referral, and then the other person will also be happy to refer you because they know your work, right? They know you personally. Also, one of the best thing you can do for your career and to get a job is get yourself evaluated using mock interviews. Uh, Make a bunch of group from friend group, and you can ask your friend to take your mock interview, and you can take his mock interview, and vice versa. You can book mock interviews on online. Also, there are a lot of platforms where industry professionals can actually help you conduct a mock interview, and you will get an actual idea of how industry interviews are done, and what feedback you need to be evaluated on, basically. That's pretty much it for my end. So thank you. You can follow, somebody asked for my LinkedIn, so I just shared it here. So you can follow me, and I will now leave 10 minutes for questions or anything if somebody wants to ask.
Thank you so much, Jogan. I think we have one question now from Shivam
Yeah.
itself.
So Shivam, so one of the most beautiful thing about software engineering career is that nobody is going to ask you if you are from an IT field or not. All that matters is your skills, right? So let's say if a company is hiring on Hacker Earth, like let's say Airbus is hiring on Hacker Earth, they are not going to ask you which college you are from, what degree you have. They will just have a problem statement that you need to solve. If you are able to solve it, well and good, you are in. Otherwise, that's it, right? So don't think in these terms where a non-IT person cannot crack a software engineering role. It's all about how much skills you have, and are you able to use those skills at the right time. Okay, any other questions, guys?
Thank you so much, Jogan. I think meanwhile, when the questions are out, I've just forwarded a couple of forms. One is the feedback form, guys. I strongly suggest you guys please take up the feedback, which helps us improve our sessions as well. And one more is the Apna exclusives. There are so many such sessions which are actually happening with Apna across different domains on a daily basis. And even to access any recordings, you can please reach out to the link which I have posted on the chat box.
Okay, I think we are on time. So still I'll stay for 1 to 2
Yeah,
minutes more. And if there are any questions, please do shoot out. So if you ask me where, like what are the resources? So it depends on person to person. Some people only like follow curated courses. So in that case, you can like buy some course. It's totally up to you. But I would say everything is available for free on internet. Most of the things are available. So for example, if you want to learn about like C++, just look on the internet, look on free resources on YouTube, or if there is any specific person you want to learn from, you like their teaching style, right? Then you can buy their course. That's totally okay. And I would say where to learn is not the right question. Basically, you should have the learner's attitude. If that is there, then you will find the resources to learn, right? That's so in today's age, finding a resource is not hard. It's just one search away, right? So just make up your mind that I want to learn C++. I have 1 week. I'll learn from whatever source. can find, and then just go for it. Uh, yeah, everything I've told still now is been real. I haven't um, gave any like impractical advice or like false hope. So I have been very practical about it. So if you have some backlog, right, then definitely you have to clear that backlog first of all, right? Otherwise, like most of the times after you join a company, they will ask you about your qualification. So in that case, if you don't have your degree with you, then you will be in the red, right? So as you said, right, if you are already in a college, you are studying your like why not clear your backlogs? And even if you have 350 problems on, if you can do 350 problems on your on lead code, that means you are consistent enough that you can clear a mere backlog also. Like don't underestimate yourself. So it's not that big of a deal. Yes, Sampad, lead code is very good platform for getting good in problem solving. I would say the best platform.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys. Again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to my social handles and I'll try to help there also.
Great. Thank you so much, Jovan. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Deepanjan, for helping us co-host this session. We will, like I said, there is a feedback form and there is a Apna Exclusives link where you can actually access the link and try to understand what are the different domains that we are giving our sessions on, and also recordings to all these sessions. Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining. I think we are bang on time. Thank you, Jovan. Bye-bye.
Thank you.